Hello Steelers, and welcome to this showcase of my relatively recently finished Vietnam project. Well, when I say finished, it's never really finished. It's a wargaming project, isn't it? However, what I have done is I have put together enough forces for basic companies so I can play Charlie Don't Surf by Two Fat Lardies. That's kind of what I was working on over the last year or so, whilst working on other projects as well. And now this is so basically I've got I went through three different forces. I've gone for the Americans, the US Army. They could also kind of stand in as the Marines as well. I've also gone for the VC, and I have also gone for the Pavan as well. So just very basic, three basic forces. So I've got something I can play with. I can expand this to Australians. I can also expand it to the Arvan as well in future. But as I say, right now I just basically wanted to get these. What we've got here right in front of you can see is the basic US States Forces platoon. This is an infantry company, and this is the basic building block of your game of Charlie Don't Surf, for example. So this comes in at around about 100, and I think it's about 140 figures in total, thereabouts. So what we've got three different platoons here. So there's one here, and then one here. They're the different ones. They've also got a mortar platoon as well to support them as well, with 81mm mortars. Each of these platoons is made up of literally three rifle squads, so that's 1, 2 and 3. They're made up of 10 men each. You can see what I've done is I based these, a couple of them on multiple bases. So there's a couple with 2 figures on, there's a couple with 3 on, and then also individuals for casualties and things. This will just help with moving them around the table because there's a lot of figures here. Didn't want everybody individually based. Then they also have a weapons squad as well. So the rifle squads are made up of 10 men carrying M16s, so they're just assault rifle squads. The weapons squads are made up of 9 men, but they also have 2 M60s in there with their other M16s as well. Each of these platoons is led by a big man, one big man here, 1, 2 and 3 there. Then we also have a medic in each of these, so there's 1, 2, 3 medics there as well. And then we also have the platoon headquarters, which is another big man, and also an attached FOO, so that's the forward observation officer. What you can see over here as well, I've also done a few extra big men as well, because you roll the dice to see if you're going to get any extra big men in your platoon, so I thought I'd do that as well. So I'll just give you a quick close-up of some of these as they are, and you can see what they are. These are, for the most part, Battlefront figures. So this is their 15mm, I should mention, yes, this is all 15mm of course. So these are basically American platoons. I think I just got 3 of them for each of these platoons, and there was enough figures in them. There's a few Peter Pig in there somewhere as well. Not a huge amount, but it's, as I say, it's mostly Battlefront. So that's the other platoon in there. And then the final one, the third one over there as well. And I do have a few extras, bits and pieces as well, that I've not shown you here, but they're just like extra individual figures and things that I can just use for any particular specific scenarios that there are as well. So that's the US forces. Obviously these are able to pretty much fight anybody, well, the VC and the Pavan anyway. So that's all of them. Now let's have a quick look at some of their opponents. And then here we have the People's Army of Vietnam troops, or the NVA as they are also known in the West at least. These are the regulars. So this is a bunch of Peter Pig figures that Dean actually gave me for my 50th birthday. He was painting them up for a Vietnam project which he never actually got finished, so he basically just handed them over to me. So that was perfect. So Dean, if you're watching this, thank you very much for that once again. I've put them to good use. I basically repainted them in my style. Not that they were badly painted by Dean in the first place, it's just I have a style that was different to his, so that's basically how I do it. This is a pretty simple force compared to the Americans. There's a far fewer men in here. I think there's about 100 or so figures in total. This is basically made up of 3 platoons, 1, 2 and 3, and then also just a support platoon made up of a mortar section with a couple of mortars in it, and also a machine gun squad over here, which you can see, which has got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 men in it. Each of these platoons is made up of a squad, which is made up of 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 riflemen. These are armed with AK-47s in this case, because these are all regulars. They are then led by a big man. Overall, we have one big man. We also have a commissar as well, and an attached rocket propelled grenade team as well in the HQ. So that's basically it. I've also got at the back 5 more big men, which you can roll for, so similar to the Americans, and they may get a few more of those guys in there as well. So it's quite a basic squad, not as much firepower as the Americans, for example. They have quite a lot more. It's just going a little bit closer for you there. So yeah, you can see that these are the Peter Pig figures. As I say, these are very nice as well. These are, I think I prefer the Battlefront ones, but because I was given these Peter Pig ones in the first place, I thought, well, you know, there's no point looking a gift horse in the mouth. So that is a perfect setup for exactly what I needed. Just to be basically to create this company itself. So as I say, similar to the Americans, this is a very basic force for Charlie Don't Surf. We've got everything in here, and one thing I should have shown you really with the Americans is, because you've got so many figures, you kind of need to know which units they're from. So what I've actually done is, on the bottom, on the bases of them, I've given them their squad numbers and different colours. So that squad, you've got squad 1, squad 2, squad 3, and that is blue platoon. And then over here, for example, you've got squad 1, squad 2, squad 3, they're in black. And then I've also done the same as well with the individual figures as well, just so I know who they are. Just using, literally using Microsoft Paint or some similar package just to draw those up, print them out and stick them all on everybody's bases. So you can tell in an instant, whilst you're playing a game, exactly which squad or which unit, even which platoon these guys are from. Right, okay, so let's now have a look at the local force, People's Army of Vietnam. And then finally, for those infantry, we have our local forces PAVN, or People's Army of Vietnam, or as they are more commonly known, the VC, Viet Cong. So these are the guys in their black peasant clothes, as you can see here. These are pretty much made up exactly the same as the other regular PAVN units, but what I've done is I've dropped off the mortars for these guys, because I figured what I can do is chuck in some of the regular forces mortars if they needed them, but they're probably not likely, because they're, you know, these are going to be using obsolete weapons, or they probably don't have as much weaponry as their regular forces companions. They are going to be obviously you know, not carrying as much stuff. So same again, we basically have 1 platoon, 2 platoons, 3 platoons, a weapons machine gun squad as support. They also have their commander as well, their big man here, and also a commissar as well, as you can see waving the flag. Each of these platoons is led by a big man as well, and then we also have this attached RPG team as well, which is part of the headquarters unit itself. Now we've also got at the back some more big men, which I can add in if needs be when you roll the dice and you get them specifically. I do probably need to add a few more of these to this force just to bulk them up a little bit, and I don't know if you can make them out, but we also have these guys here, ambushers. These are from Peter Pig, so these are guys popping out of small crawl holes basically with a gun just to shoot a GI in the back, I would have thought. These are, again, all of these apart from the ambushers, these are all Battlefront figures, so this is their VC forces. Once again, I mean, I just went into their just bought their platoon units for each of these and just made them up out of them as well. So just to give you a quick skim across them a little, so you can see them a little easier on the screen there. So yeah, there you go, you've got your 3 different platoons. So once again, this is probably around about, each of these each of the squads are made up of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 man rifle squads. So you can probably work out how big these are. There's 3 squads in here, so we're talking probably about 90 or so to 100 figures in this this company in total. So yeah, so these guys are going to be obviously on the table, hiding in the jungle at some point. But another interesting little force there. So of course no Vietnam project is complete without the Americans' heavy hitters and their vehicles. So of course I've got plenty of these. So we've got the M48s down here, 3 of these. Battlefronts, these are the resin and metal ones, very nice. I've got 2 M113 Zippos with the flamethrowers on them there. Also 4 M113s with recoilless rifles on them. And then finally another 7 M113s, and these are the ACAV version with the machine guns built on top. I think it's a 50 cal on top of those. So they're all the plastic ones from Battlefront, apart from the Zippos, which are the metal and resin ones. Again, these were sent to me actually by I think Dave Knight, I think it is his name is. I can't remember, I had to check, but yeah, Dave sent these over, and they were half painted when he'd sent them over. So I just painted them and add some stowage as well. So these are perfect. Sometimes I use the M133s as jumping off points, just as, you know, interest for the for Chain of Command Vietnam as well. So yeah, that's the American vehicles. So a whole ton of those. And of course you can't have a Vietnam project without helicopters. It's just got to be done, hasn't it? If nothing else. So you've got to have Hueys. So we've got a bunch of Hueys here, one a Hog here, the rest are Slicks. There's only 3 of those at the moment. I've still got about another 6 of these to build, so I haven't built them yet. I don't really need that many, but I'm going to build them. Again, some of these ones were ones given over to me from Dean. Other ones are ones that I have bought myself, plastic ones. These ones were printed for me by Mike Wilkins. So thanks Mike K. Guiva. And then we've also got these 2 Cobra gunships as well as support. So I don't need this many, but you know, you can't have a Vietnam game without helicopters, so these will be very good. I'll also possibly use some of these as jumping off points as well for Chain of Command Vietnam as well. The rotor blade you can see here, these came from Warbases. If you get in touch with them and ask them about them, all I did was literally paint the edges and just put a bit of a black smear down to show where the rotor blades were. But yes, an American forces have to be moving about in helicopters over those jungle scenes there. So that's my helicopter force at the moment. And then last but by no means least, just a little bit of VC support or Pavan support. So we've got command bunkers, a couple of MMG bunkers as well. Built to these again were given to me by Dean, so I've just basically tarted them up, added a bit more foliage and things. We've also got some rice cache, some radios and things for, you know, when you're searching villages and that kind of thing. They're nice objective markers. And then of course we've got a bunch of civilians as well, being used to interrogate or to move about or to get in everybody's way, and to basically score political points with, depending on which side you're on. So yeah, so we got those little extras as well, just to add that little bit of Vietnamese flavour to the games. And here it is, everything laid out. So we've got the American infantry over here, they've got their support weapons in their vehicles. We've got some of the VC supports to the back, the helicopters as you can see obviously at the back there. We've also then got the regulars, the Pavan regulars, and also the Pavan local forces over here. So as I say, we've got basically 2 companies of Vietnamese against 1 company of Americans. You're not going to use that many on a table. It's just going to be 1 company versus 1 company, with maybe with a mix of bits and pieces as well in Charlie Don't Surf. Obviously, of course, I can use any other Vietnamese rules, such as Men of Company B by Peter Pig, for example, and also the Chain of Command Vietnam version as well, written by John Savage. So, you know, I've got quite a lot of scope to use these figures in. I probably don't need a huge amount more than this, but you know what it's like. It's Wargaming. We're going to add more. I do have a few extra bits and pieces of figures in the boxes as well. So what I'll do here is, there you go. That's, as I say, that's the entire lot of them. I will now just show you how I store these. And surprise, surprise, I can get 99% of this lot into one single really useful box. So as I said, I can fit all of this, everything, into one single 9 litre really useful box. You can tell it's the one for Charlie Don't Surf because it says it on the front there. But these are the really useful box inserts for warbases. If you go onto their website and search for them there, you'll find them. They're under, I think, the accessories, and it says RUB inserts. So basically you've got the Parvan local forces here, you've got the Parvan regulars here, then 2 boxes of American stuff, a few extra Parvan stuff there, and also American mortars. I've also put for a few of the non-combatants, the civilians, and also the support weapons for the Parvan over there, and then I've got the American vehicles all in that one tub as well. And I still have at least one free tub as well, which I haven't used yet, and a bit of space on this one, so these 2 here, so I can still get quite a lot more stuff in here because I've got more things to paint. The only things that won't, these are the, just to mention, these are the 35mm deep really useful box inserts. I've got a 43mm deep one as well, which is what I've got the helicopters in. Now unfortunately this is the 1% that doesn't fit in the really useful box with the rest, but you could jig it about a little bit, and also the bases for the helicopters, the flight stands as well, they're in a separate box on their own as well. But just to basically quickly show you exactly how this works. So as I say, these are the I went for the half-size ones for war bases, simply because it just gives you that little bit more flexibility. One second, I just need to put my thing in there so I know what's in this box. So So they just, what's nice about these as well is they've also got that little ridge on the bottom, so anything that is slightly bigger than usual, like some of these tanks for example, and the weapons on the vehicles, they will your inserts will stand proud of them, so you can build up on top of them as well. So basically I just try to rationalize stuff so I know where everything is in there. So we've got, you know, the VC and the regulars all together on that one, and then finally the Americans over here, their final bits, and that's it. As I say, 6 of these trays is more than enough for you to get this entire 15mm collection in the box, lid on, and then we put that to one side as well, and that's it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little look at my Vietnam project. There are still more things to do, of course there are in every project, but that is the bulk of it at this point, I think. As I say, it's mostly going to be vehicles. I think I'm going to be adding to this at some point in future, but right now I think I can, well, I can't draw a line under it, but I can draw a dotted line under it at this point and then start playing some games. So thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please do hit that like and subscribe button, leave us a comment, let me know what you think about this, and I will see you in the next Storm of Steel video.